Okay, I'm going to start with Psalm 51:17. So Psalms 51:17, I'm going to abbreviate. So I'm going to do PS, Psalm 51 is the chapter. All right, and 17 is the verse. Okay, so that's going to start my little book. And as I go through it, I'll get better at judging the distance and all of that. Now, let me explain these stamps. I just want to add a little decor. So let's try and use a little bit of color. The purple first. So basically, just kind of put the color on the stamp. This is going to be interesting. And then turn the paper and stamp here. Let's see. I need something to lean on, which probably shouldn't be the Bible, but let's just see. You can kind of see the design. And it just adds a little bit of decor. I'm happy with that. Okay, so my next scripture, I've got these all written down in advance, by the way. My next scripture is going to be John 20:30. So I'm writing this in French, but Jean 20:30. John 20:30. And then the amount of time it takes me to ink the stamp kind of helps me to let the ink dry a little bit because I am using fountain pen ink. And then we're going here, turn the page. They're so small. And then I'm going to do this one. This is kind of like a mixed one. But I'm not trying to mix colors, which I could do, but I'm not trying to for this little tiny book. And there we go, which is gonna, that one's a little crooked, but I'm okay. Next scripture is Matthew 7:12. So Matthew 7:12. So I'm just going to abbreviate again. I'm not sure how you would abbreviate that. 7:12 or 7:12. Okay. And then let's change the stamp. So I'm going to also change the color of the stamp. So I'm going to use green this time. And I'm going to use it on this really big stamp. Now, I don't know how many of you use really big stamps sometime just for an accent, but you can do that. Don't think that the really big stamp has to be used for a really big thing. I'm using this really big stamp for a really little thing. I'm turning the page, and then I'm just going to press the book onto the stamp because the stamp's so big. And then we have that little accent there. I'm happy with it. And then we're going to go to the next scripture, which is Proverbs 1:11. I wonder if we should write on there. But no, I guess I'm going to write Proverb 1:11. Proverb 1:11. I'm sorry, that was supposed to be 18. So, don't you love it when you make mistakes? 18. Okay. turn it again. Let's try to do a better job with this stamp. So, taking the green, doing it a little darker here. It didn't come out bright enough. And pressing the book onto the stamp. Now I have to make sure I press even in the middle because I think last time I didn't get the whole impression. So I'll just make sure I press hard and yeah, that's much better. Okay, so then the scripture here is going to be Colossians 3:15. So Colossiens 3:15. Okay. Back to this pretty stamp. Well, this is actually a little bit different than the other one. And let's change the color. It has two different colors, one on each side. Change it back to purple. By kind of using the same coloring thing, I know that it'll all match. Okay, so just stamp that up. And then again, we'll turn. And then we'll stamp here. Well, could we do the same thing where we press the stamp onto the page onto the stamp? I think so. I don't know which one's easier. I think I should probably use a piece of paper when I do it this way though. You know why? They don't get ink on me. Hey, that's kind of cool. I like, but I did get ink on me. So I can wipe my ink off with a little rag. Okay, and then I'm going to put my next scripture down, which is Genèse 4:10-12. Genesis 4:10-12. Alright. Sorry, that's not the top of my pen. This is the top of my pen. And then I'm going to turn it. Let's try and do a better job with this stamp than we did before. So again, let's go ahead and use the purple again. I'm going to do the whole book, but this is probably the last one I'm going to show you. And again, I probably should take a piece of paper. And just to show you what I mean by the piece of paper can help, if you take a piece of paper, now when you lay this on top of this, it's a little bit smaller, then you put the paper and you can rub it without getting your fingers dirty. So, little tip, especially when you're dealing with something quite this small. Okay, right, and lift it up. And there, that looks really cool. Now, I could definitely put scriptures on the pages that have stamps, but I'm deciding not to. So the scripture here, now depending on what kind of pen you use, I'm using the Meisterstruck with calligraphy nib. Let's do Exod. And if you write small, you decide to do the whole book. So Exod, which is Exodus, right? Chapter 14, 14, les versets 26 à 27. No, à 29. Yeah, à 29. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do for Instagram, but I hope you enjoyed that. Kind of a fun little book. Now I can just page through the different pages, and each page has an image on one side and a scripture on the other. And this is a nice book to read when you're kind of like chilling. You just make it an exercise of reading all the scriptures.